again there, guys. Brian here at 3TR, and I'm here bringing you another episode of the People's Questions, episode 73, the E3 edition. As you can tell, I am still here in LA. I just got through the last day of E3, so I'm now ready to answer all of your guys' questions, and I will say I actually got quite a lot of them. Not quite as directly E3 related as I would have wanted to, but I take what I get, but I did get a lot of really good E3 questions. Now, this question was asked by a lot of you over, I would say, the past week, but the main person who asked this question was Little Big Yoda, and you wanted to know what are my feelings about Kiefer Sutherland voicing Snake. Actually, since I've been here at E3, I actually got to get in the behind-the-scenes area of the Konami booth where I could actually hear his voice kind of up close in the new trailer, and I have to say, I actually do like the voice. I think it fits his character very well. I actually got a chance to see up close really how the facial emotional expressions are going to play a big part of Metal Gear Solid 5. And personally, I could accept a voice change for this particular version of Big Boss. And as I've said many times, with the story kind of gradually going further, Big Boss is going to sound different from Solid Snake, and if you've heard from him in Metal Gear Solid 4. So I'm perfectly fine with it. I'm just curious if he can bring this type of connection with the gamers as David Hayter has done over the years. I mean, it's going to sound a little bit weird to us at first, and it's going to take some time to warm up to it, but I can tell you this game is going to have so many just ground play, graphically leaping, just elevations from the previous installments. I think we're all going to warm up to it very quickly. Next question comes from SlowRider1978, and you want to know which superhero deserves their own movie or TV series. I personally believe the one character who deserves it to their own movie or TV series is Robin, and I would mostly like to focus on, say, the three main Robins, which is Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, and Tim Drake. I think something like that would work more with a TV series, and I would really like to prefer to see Batman take a back seat and us to get really Robin's point of view of things. So you can actually see with, the Dick Grayson story, you can see how he's developing his own character, and then he kind of sees things Bruce isn't really into, and so he decides to go his own way to become Nightwing. We see Jason Todd's story, you can see how he kind of followed the same path, but ended up getting killed. And then with Tim Drake's storyline being vastly different. As I said before, I think this would make a much better TV series, and they could simply follow this up with different seasons, but that's who I would pick that's the one hero I would like to see have their own movie or TV series. Next two questions come from Draven G, who's a real G, and you wanted to know, have I ever considered checking out Game of Thrones? I've actually heard a lot of great things about Game of Thrones, especially about this new Red Wedding scene that apparently is on the rage on YouTube right now, but I actually do not have HBO, so I'm unable to check it out. But what I am waiting for is for this to be released on Blu-ray or DVD, or simply be accessible on Netflix, and when it does, I will be sure to take a day off and watch the entire season, really from beginning to end, to try to catch up with all of you guys. And the next question is, do I think The Man of Steel will have an end credits scene? I've heard a lot of talk if there was going to be an end credits scene. From what I know, Warner Brothers isn't quite clear if they are going to do a second Superman movie. And usually when you do an end credits scene, it means that you have plans for a second movie. And since we simply, as far as we know, there are no plans for a future DC movie, I wouldn't expect them to have one. But I did hear that there is a mention in the Man of Steel itself that is a reference to the expanded DC universe, which is kind of like making a just a little maybe cameo or mention of some future characters that we might see, and I think that's really the most we will get in terms of seeing what the future of the DC films is going to bring us. The next question is a newbie on my channel for the People's Questions, and he goes by the name of Bobby V, and you want to know, what does my workout consist of? How many reps, sets, and weights? My main workout that I'm trying to focus on is really the upper strength area, and that's mostly just the arms, shoulders, back, chest areas, ab sections, arms. And that's really what I'm trying to focus on. I'm not really trying to focus too much on my legs and stamina, since it's been pretty consistent throughout the years since in high school. I mean, I was able to still leg press over 500 pounds, which I believe is the maximum at the gym that I'm working out at. In terms of the individual workouts, you know, dumbbells, bench presses, dumbbell curls, lat pull downs, just really anything, if anything you can think of that strictly works the upper body, I'm probably working on that. And the way that I do my sets and reps is I make sure to do them I make sure to do each of them 10 times each, so that each individual workout I do 100 reps. So, you know, if I decide to do 10 workouts, that means that in a total I've done 1,000 in total of everything I've done today. And trust me, it gets really sore, but I think my body's starting to get used to it, which is why I'm really starting to see some real good results. Next two questions come from Criticism Guy 2009, and you want to know what are my thoughts on the next Hunger Games movie. I actually am not going to go see that movie. I have yet to see the first Hunger Games movie or even read any of the books. It's just not something I'm really interested into, so that's really not something I can answer because I have really no plans on seeing it or reading any of the books. Next question is, have I heard of an anime called Panty and Stockings Long Story? No, I haven't, but you've not eased my curiosity, and I will check in on that. This isn't the first time I've heard a crazy name for an anime, but usually I think the crazier names make for much more interesting concepts for anime stories than sticking to some generic storyline that we've heard or seen done over and over and over again. So thanks for bringing that to my attention. And the last number of questions, which some of these are E3 questions, come from Mike Stiles. So thanks, Mike, for giving me the E3 questions I asked for. And you want to know, what do I think of the Sega Spectrum reveal? I didn't think it was all that impressive. Sega has really not done anything in recent years to really ease my curiosity, except for that one game, Vanquish, that they did some time ago, which, you know, I think is like the best thing that they've pulled out. But in terms of the main character, Sonic, haven't really seen much. Next question is, how many new friends did I make at E3? I actually made about 3 or 4 new friends, and all of these guys are actually part of a TV. I'm going to post a picture and talk about it. These guys are really cool. They're actually doing exactly where I want to take 3TR a year or two from now, where they actually have their own TV production studio, and they actually do interviews and all this cool stuff. And maybe I could bring some of you guys in. Maybe you'd like to add your own twist or bring something like an idea to 3TR to have it expand, and that's really what I want to shoot for. Next question is, was I impressed with the look of the PlayStation 4? Again, I'll post some more pictures. You know, from this point on, if I have something that I talk about from E3, I'll just post pictures of it, as you can see. Yes, I'm very impressed with the new PlayStation 4 look. It looks like a hybrid version, a sleeker version of the PlayStation 2, and I was a real big fan of the PlayStation 2, and I'm even more impressed with the price that they want to set out, and really how it is going to be the defining system strictly for gamers and not for the, you know, the developers. Next question is, who had the best show floor setup? I have to say that Nintendo actually had the best setup, because Xbox was rather small, Sony's was rather crowded, which is why I actually didn't really get to go to Sony all that much. I mean, I was there, but I didn't really get to spend as much time. But Nintendo's was so massive that it had the most amount of people, and I think the people I was traveling with, we got a lot of fun playing all sorts of games. So I would say Nintendo had the best floor, even though, you know, they didn't even have a press conference. Next question is, was there a game that blew my mind? Yes, there was. Titanfall. I actually saw this first at the EA conference, which is the first conference I've ever been to. Unfortunately, the line for that was so insane, I did not even get a chance to view the demo of it. But I wouldn't even say I'm an Xbox person, but if that game does impress me enough and I see more of it over the future, that would be something I would consider buying an Xbox for, because that makes Call of Duty look like absolute garbage. Although I will make sure that PlayStation 4 is my main console. Your next question is, by a scale rating, how would I rate E3 2013? I would give it a 9 out of 10. Reason I won't give it a 10 is simply because I had to go alone and I had to make new friends, which, you know, was an amazing experience, and it did get me to step out of my comfort zone, but it would have made me feel better to actually go with someone who I knew and could actually help me get some ideas of where I should go next, because for the first day at E3, I was rather lost. I was just jumping between the two main halls, just kind of taking random pictures and videos. But this E3 visit was a complete success, and I really cannot wait to do it next year and the year after that. And maybe if I'm lucky, some of you guys will recognize me because I've yet to be recognized at all ever. So I think having that moment will be a major experience for me. And the next question is, if I could go to E3 2004, would I go? Yes, absolutely. I already have that planned out. I'm just trying to figure out how in order to plan out the whole media thing, because the thing that I found it is you're part of the media as I was. This time you actually can skip a lot of the really long lines, which is why I actually got to play a lot more games than a lot more other people got to, and so that was a great experience. And with that, that's all the questions you guys sent me for this E3 edition of the People's Questions. If you like this video, please like, comment down below, and please subscribe to check for me in my future videos. And if you have any questions that you can ask me about anything, please type them in the comments and I'll be sure to answer them in the next episode. And like always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.